Good evening, everybody. This is kind of a let's do a random. Let's do a random. Doing this one tonight, I'm going to talk about my recent experience buying a car with Carvana. And I say recent. I bought the car back in mid March. So, it was a few months ago, but I say recent because it was only about 2 weeks ago well, 3 weeks ago, that we finally got everything more or less resolved. Now, Carvana still owes me a bunch of money. We'll get to that in a minute. But I'll admit, in fairness, I'm also doing one tonight because I still got to come up with another 10 hours of live streaming between now and Monday evening. So, I'm just going to tell the story, guys. You're going to have to forgive me. I need to turn this other fan up a little bit. One of the reasons I don't usually stream in the evenings from here is because, y'all, it's hot in Georgia. That's a metal roof. It's hot in here. And I don't like to wear a shirt in the studio after about 9 o'clock in the morning. But, so, here's what happened. I had a plan, right? I retired early last year, bought this nice piece of property, moved out here, and then I decided I wanted to pick up a little gig, pick up a little extra money. Now, my Uncle Bobo would have told you there's no such thing as extra money, there's only more. And I agree. But basically, early this year, I picked up a gig that I had before. It's a contract doing real estate marketing material. And I've been driving the same 2001 F-150 for over 20 years. And I love my pick-em-up truck. I do. But it's about time. It's got over 300,000 miles on it. It's still in good shape, but it's an old pickup truck. Rides a little bit rough. It's a manual transmission. I'm old and my knees hurt. So I bought myself really more or less a luxury vehicle. And I bought it from Carvana. I bought a 2022 Ford Expedition Max with the limited trim package. Beautiful vehicle. Got it in Federal Agent Black. Lots of bells and whistles, but not all the bells and whistles. I had a television screen, not the Optimus iPad, Optimus Prime pad, right? Like my dad's got a newer Expedition with a King Ranch, and the dashboard looks like my studio. Anyway, so I bought the car. And, the problems began immediately. I went for outside financing through my bank, and got the loan to buy the car, and went through all the steps with Carvana to pick out the car. And I should have just said, you know what, y'all already screwed up. I'm done. I'm walking away from you right here. Right there at the very beginning, got the owner financing out of the way. And then Carvana says, oh, well, we can't accept the terms on this loan. We need an additional 2 days. Literally, we need your bank to give us 2 more days to file paperwork. Y'all, it was the difference between 28 and 30 days. And it was because they were counting business days in psychotic nonsense. So I called the bank back and I said, hey, can we fix this? Can we give them the extra 2 days? The bank won't work with me. Carvana won't work with me. There's no flexibility. And so I said, okay, you know what? Maybe it's because I haven't done the financing this way before. And then, come to think of it, I'm like, no, hold on a minute. I did actually. I took a loan with USAA when I bought my minivan 15 years ago. And I didn't have any problems. This is a Carvana problem. And in fact, weeks later, when we get to the rest of it, I ended up having a conversation with someone at my bank, with one of the bankers at my bank, which it's USAA, by the way. And I told them, here's what happened. Y'all screwed me. And they said, yeah, and that is kind of on us, but it's really on Carvana. And it's been such a problem that we've changed our company policy, and we will not do car loans with Carvana this way. If you want to buy a car from Carvana with USAA loan, the only way they'll do it is Carvana essentially issues a it's not a bill of sale. It's not exactly an invoice, but Carvana has to produce a document that has the exact purchase price on it, and then the bank will write a paper check and mail it to Carvana, right? And Carvana's required. They made it harder on Carvana. Didn't do me any favors. So, right off the rip, I should have said, okay, you guys screwed me. You hit me with an extra 2 percentage points on the interest rate because you're incompetent assholes and you got no flexibility. That's bad customer service right off the rip. That's one. That right there, that by itself is reason enough to never do business with Carvana. The next place they screwed me. Even though I sent them the paperwork, all the necessary documentation about my status as a disabled combat veteran who is exempt from sales tax on the purchase of a vehicle like this, Carvana didn't do their end of the paperwork. And I didn't even, and this part's a little on me for not paying close attention. I made the mistake of trusting a third party to do a thing that they promised they would do. So, that's a little on me. I should have operated under the assumption that they couldn't be trusted and that they should have been placed under extraordinary scrutiny because they're a third party and who knows? They just cannot do what they do. They cannot do what they say they're going to do. So they ended up charging me the $2,500 something in taxes and sales tax on the car. So I had to go, then I had to go down to my local tax assessor. And now, thankfully, I live in a small town, and I was able to walk in and talk to the local tax assessor. She said, "Yeah, no problem. What, hand me a copy of can you get me a copy of XYZ document?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've got it on my phone." Emailed it to her, and within 10 minutes of bringing up the problem with her, she just pulls out the county checkbook and hand writes me a check for $2,500. Like, okay, cool. That helps. But Carvana put me in a position where I had to go and I had to pursue that. Okay. Now, so that we're all on the same page, thus far, I don't have the car yet. This is all before I've got the car. So, go through the process, finally get all that shit set up, and they're going to bring me the car. On the day, they're supposed to deliver the car at 3:00 in the afternoon. They are 3 hours late delivering the car. Now, I understand how routes work. I do. In fact, every morning that I'm working, that I'm doing real estate photography, I get a list with scheduled stops on it. And guess what? I show up at every one of them between 5 and 15 minutes early. Right? I'm not a cable guy. I'm not saying, oh yeah, I'll be there between noon and Thursday. No, because I respect my client's time. If we said we're doing business at noon, I'm going to be parked outside of your house at 11:50, so I can spend 5 minutes doing the little bit of paperwork that I've got to do before I walk in. I've got to tag where the photos are going to go to make sure that they end up with the right client, and set up the camera and walk up and knock on the door. And I'm going to knock on your door, and 5 minutes before the scheduled time, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to tell you, hey, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm about to walk through your house. I'm going to look at how your decorations are done, how your window blinds look, and make sure all your toilet seats are down, and turn on all your lights, and we're going to knock this sumbitch out, and I'm going to get out of your hair. You won't ever see me again. Let's get her done. Carvana's 3 hours late, so I missed my boy's soccer game. And I have an almost irrational fear of this, of missing my kids' activity stuff. I do not ever want to hear one of my kids feel like they were put in a position where daddy was too busy going to work, right? I'm not going to be Peter Banning, standing at the ball game, facing away from my kid while he's playing his game and talking on my cell phone. No, no, I'm here for this. So when somebody else takes that shit away from me, that's infuriating. Now, fair play. That's a little personal dig, and not everybody out there is a decent person or a good father who cares about their kids or imagines that other people might care about their children. I mean, we have Democrats out there. They exist. So when they show up with my car 3 hours late, the driver tells me, now I gave it a once over, and I just want to let you know the AC doesn't work. Now I know it's Georgia and it's not all that hot yet, but I know it's going to get hot. But don't worry. Our warranty company, I already put in a work order. Our warranty company is going to call you first thing tomorrow morning, and they're going to send you to a mechanic. We're going to pay for everything, fix the AC, and you'll be good to go. I don't like it, but I mean, I guess I'm kind of stuck here. So he drops off the car and leaves. And I'm looking at it. Limited trim package. Expedition Max. So, it's got the longer storage area. And on the website, when I purchased the car, on the website, it explicitly advertised that the car has automatic running boards. You open the door and the little step comes down. Now I'm 6.5 feet tall. I just sit down in the car, no problem. My 6-year-old, however, without the little step, just about has to be picked up to be set in the car. So I get it. It's missing the running boards. And then I'm looking at the tires, and it's got 4 bald, unmatched tires. Well, the next day I've got to go to work. Okay, I've got my new car. It's not all that hot yet. I can, if it starts to warm up, I can roll the windows down, do that 4x60 AC. Fine. So I drive it that first day. And I never get a phone call. That first day that I've got the car, I never get a phone call from the warranty company. Ooh. I was told I get the phone call first thing in the morning. I never get the phone call. So the next morning, and I believe this was a Friday, I call the warranty company, and I start with, hey, your driver said he filed a work order and that I should be getting a phone call from you guys first thing in the morning. That was yesterday. You never called me. Oh, we don't have anything in our system reflecting that. I don't see anything here that reflects that a work order was filed. Now, it's possible the driver lied to me. It's possible there's no such thing as a work order where they are. But let me tell you something. I got a car with 4 unmatched bald tires, missing parts. Right? When I say it didn't have the running boards, I don't mean it had the wrong running boards. It had the static running boards instead of the automatic ones, or the automatic ones. No, they weren't fucking there. There were no running boards. There were the mounting brackets where they had been, but they were gone. So, on the tires, they told me, "Oh well, no, the tires have 50% of their life left. Oh, those are good enough." You ever see what the tires look like on a car that needs a front end alignment and hasn't had one? Yeah, they might be 50% on the outside or 50% on the inside, but you got steel belts showing through on the slant side, right? That's, oh, well, they got 50% of their life left. So, no, we can't do anything about that. That's not our policy. Gotcha. So you sold me a car on busted tires. I'm going to have to replace immediately. Okay. Okay. I see where we're at. Well, can I get the AC fixed? Oh, let me sneak this in there. Just get it out of the way before I go down the rabbit hole that is this soap opera. Okay. So on the running boards, they tell me, oh, that was a miscommunication. Let us offer you they sent me a check for $100. I got 4 different quotes on getting these running boards installed, ranging from $1,900 to $3,000. They sent me a check for $100. Okay, if you haven't gathered this already, Carvana sold me an absolute lemon. 4 bald unmatched tires, the running boards are missing, and the AC doesn't work when it shows up. I finally get them on the phone. Hey, you got to at least fix my AC. Oh, yeah, of course, Mr. Lowry, of course. We'll take care of that. Here, go see this mechanic. The closest mechanic, and fair play, I live out in the country. I live in the middle of nowhere. So the closest mechanic that they approve of is 45 minutes away. I go see him, and he's a stand-up guy. I like the guy. We went and had lunch, a few weeks later, and he'll end up being one of the boys and bringing his kids around for barbecues and stuff. Fair play. Sharp guy, military veteran mechanic, and anyway, but he doesn't have what's called a YF AC machine, which is a specialized type piece of equipment that's required for newer model vehicles' air conditioning systems. And when he told me that, I thought, that seems odd. That seems like something that if you're going to be in business and run a garage, that's something you would have. So, that I ain't gonna lie, I kind of lost a little respect for my buddy there when I first met him, because he didn't have that piece of equipment. It just seemed to me like that's got to be a piece of equipment that you basically have to do this job, to be in this business, or you're going to be turning away huge customers, right? So he can't do the work. So Carvana sends me to a second mechanic, and this one's over an hour away from my house. And so, but I go there. I go see this mechanic, and somewhere in the middle of the trips between these two mechanics, the car starts to buck, and the cruise control starts to just randomly shut off when I'm running it. And it seems like it's bucking hardest. It's doing the thing. It's most commonly canceling cruise control when it starts going uphill. And then a couple times, there were 2 times that I was trying to get on the interstate and accelerate up to the speed of traffic, and the transmission just gave up, and it would not accelerate. So there were, and then it happened a couple times, starting from a stop at a red light and then trying to turn, trying to hit the gas and turn left with a green arrow. But the transmission just slipped and it wouldn't accelerate. So, each of those incidents almost resulted in me having an accident in the car, in this lemon that Carvana sold me. So I talked to, so they sent me to a second mechanic, and I talked to this mechanic, and I tell him, listen, here's what's going on with the transmission. The AC's not working right. Can you fix it? He doesn't have a YF machine either. And this is a good looking, both of these shops so far, these are good looking professional shops, right? They look legit as near as I can tell. And they both tell me they don't have that specialized air conditioner machine to fix my AC. And at this point, I'm like, maybe I owe Preston over at the other place a little bit of an apology, because I thought, why the hell wouldn't a mechanic have this? Apparently, it's a very expensive piece of equipment. So Carvana sends me to yet a third mechanic. This one's a half hour, even past the second one, in the same direction. In fact, I drove past this second one on the same road on the way to the third one. They can't do it either. Now, when you buy a car from Carvana, they guarantee you that if you don't love it in the first 7 days, that they will take it back from you, hassle-free return, full, guaranteed money back, with a potential small restocking fee if you've gone over 400 miles, whatever. By the way, if you go over 400 miles, it's $1 a mile. Just saying. So at this point, I'm well past my 7 days because, okay, first they didn't call me when they said they would. And then I call them and it takes, over the weekend and a day, right? Remember, when they were bitching about the long-term times, they counted the business days against me. But when they were talking about their 7-day guarantee, that 7 days includes Saturday and Sunday. It's not 9 days because you have your 5 days of the week and then business days don't count and then two. No. They play that definition fast and loose however it benefits them, because fuck you. You're just a blood sack we could suck money out of. So I get to the third one. They can't do the work either. This is 3 mechanics they've sent me to. At this point, I'm like 9-10 days into owning this truck. I've been to 3 mechanics. I still don't have AC. I'm still rolling on bald, unmatched tires. I still don't have running boards, and my transmission is falling apart. And I get them on the phone, and I tell, hey, third mechanic can't do it either. Okay, well, here's a fourth mechanic. No, stop. Let me stop you right there, sunshine. You send me to a Ford dealership. Well, that's it. This has to go to a dealership. You've sent me to 3 mechanics. I am done missing work, losing wages, spending money on gas to run your errands for you because you can't bother yourself to send me to a competent mechanic. Now, don't get me wrong. All 3 of the mechanics I talked to seem to be very competent mechanics. They are not competent to the task that I require of them. They don't have the equipment they require. I've actually had some work done on my van with one of them. He did a great job. And he went above and beyond replacing a wire that wasn't part of what we had agreed for him to do. He noticed that it needed to be replaced and just fixed it while he was up under there and said, "Dad, don't worry about it, man." Right? So, they are competent, but they don't have that piece of equipment. It did surprise me that so many mechanics, small sample size, I only visited 3, but out of 3 in a small area in rural Georgia, no one had the machine. I had to go to a Ford dealership. So I get into the dealership. Now, the Ford dealership I dealt with, they were fantastic. Butler Ford in Milledgeville. They were great about calling Carvana, about chasing them down, about arguing with them over terms. But here begins the saga. Okay, so Silver Rock is the name of the warranty company that Carvana uses. So Silver Rock did pay for the AC to be fixed. Fair play. After 3 weeks and 3 mechanics and a lot of missed wages and time when they could have just started with a dealership. But no, they had to give me a runaround to get there. But they did pay Ford to fix the AC. And then Ford told me that I was wrong about the transmission. Ford tells me, no, it's not a transmission problem. Now, we understand how you might think it's a transmission problem. Listen, I'm a grown ass man. I've been driving a manual transmission Ford pickup truck for more than half my life. And before that, I drove a manual transmission 88 Beretta. I've been driving a manual transmission my whole adult and teenage life. If I tell you that the problem is a transmission problem, that it feels like there's a problem with the transmission, you can take that shit to the bank. But the master mechanic at the Ford dealership said, no, what the problem is that this vehicle has never had a tune-up. It needs plugs and wires. The engine is misfiring so often that it feels like a transmission problem. I said, all right, Scooter, you're the mechanic. I'm not. What do I know? And so they put in with Silver Rock with the warranty company through Carvana to do that work, to get that repair done. And lo and behold, they approved and Silver Rock refused to do the repair. They said, oh no, plugs and wires, tune up, that's regular maintenance. We're not responsible for that. Fuck me. Now I'm well outside of the 7-day return window because they've given me the runaround. Right? And the fact that they sent me to 3 different mechanics, ran me around and wasted my time, that doesn't feel like an error. Right? Well, Mario, I see Legion watching right now. Mario and I talked about it this morning. Hamlin's razor. Never attribute to malice that which can be explained by incompetence. Now, when it just happens to be that you send me to 3 mechanics that all are not adequate to the task for the same reason, and all 3 for the exact same reason, feels to me like you're trying to run out the 7-day guarantee so that you don't have to take this car back off my hands. Okay, so Ford does the tune-up, and I pay him to do it. And at this point, I'm pissed. And I'm on the phone now. Forget about the warranty company over at Silver Rock. I'm on the phone with Carvana. Hey, how are you going to fix this? You guys owe me money. They still owe me that money, by the way. And I'm not done going after them. Carvana put me in a position where I had to pay out of pocket to repair a vehicle that I just bought from them, which they guaranteed me was in good working condition. And when I say guaranteed me was in good working condition, what was the problem I just described? It was that the Ford dealership told me that the engine needed a tune-up. And that it was misfiring because of it needed a tune-up, and that's why it felt like there was a transmission problem. Okay, let's see. Battery condition, alternator, water pump, fuel system operation, fuel filter, radiator, AC. AC condenser, corrosion, road hazard damage, no. Coolant replacement, discolored insufficient. You go down the whole checklist, and it either says passed or fixed or replaced, right? And I could go down the whole thing and show you, tire tread depth. Record tire tread depth is at least 430 seconds. Oh, yeah, on which end? On which side? So come down here, oil. Engine, oil leaks, none. Transmission leaks, none. Right? That's false. It says the same thing in there for AC. It says there were no AC leaks. When Ford finally did fix my AC, the problem was that it had leaked and there was no Freon left in it. So Ford does the work. I pay them out of pocket. And now that they've done the tune-up, I get it back from them on a Friday night, late afternoon on Friday, And the next morning, I take my kids. We're going to this fair, this country fair where, it's chicken swap. Going to get some chickens, and the truck starts bucking again. The transmission starts bucking. About we're almost to the fair, so we're already pretty far away from the house. And I say, okay, screw it. We're already out here. I can either turn around and go home now and skip the fair, or we can park. We can have a little fun, and then I can head back. So went to the fair, head back. It stalls and shuts off a couple times, sputters, bucks, jumps, shifts hard, and starts throwing codes. This is important. It's now that the engine has been tuned up, it starts throwing codes. Big red flashing light on the LED heads-up display. Warning! Warning! Shift system fault. See mechanic immediately. And that's what I did. I dropped the kids off at the house and took it back to the Ford dealership. I had the car back less than a day. Took it back and I said, hey, y'all were wrong. It's absolutely the transmission, just like I said it was. And you doubted me and you argued with me and you handed me back a vehicle, but you clearly didn't test drive after you did the work that I paid you for, because you handed me back a vehicle with a busted transmission and said that it was good after I told you it was a bad fucking transmission. So now, thankfully, we're into no shit mechanical issues territory. And we get Silver Rock back on the phone. Hey, you need to fix this transmission. And to their credit, after about 2 weeks of arguing, Silver Rock did approve the first transmission work. But see, here's the thing. The way that works is there are these instruction sets that come from the dealership, that come from Big Ford, and the warranty company says, listen, mechanic, we will only approve the cheapest repair available, right? So, and fair play. Every time you need an oil change, that doesn't mean that you need to replace the whole engine block. Got it. Every time the rear main seal is leaking, it doesn't mean you need a new transmission. So they tried the first fix. And it's something about a stoppage plate. I'm not a transmission mechanic. I know what a transmission is supposed to feel like from driving them for years and years. I am not a transmission mechanic, so I'm not familiar with parts. But some kind of stoppage plate, interrupt plate, some part in the transmission, they go to replace it. They do that, and now the car is stuck in park. It will not shift out of park. So then they call Silver Rock, and I have to wait for another week for Silver Rock to approve a second repair. They do, and they go back and Ford goes back and does that. And once they get to there, now the truck will shift out of park and into drive, into gear. But it's having the same problems again. It's bucking hard, it's shifting hard, it's not working right. And Ford says, hey, third time's the charm, here's where we're at. You owe this man a new transmission. That this transmission that you sold this man is beyond repair. It has to be replaced with a new transmission. There's no other option. It has to be replaced with a new transmission. So Carvana jerks me around for weeks. For several weeks on whether or not they're going to do the new transmission. And guys, this isn't the only show I'm going to do about this. Carvana really screwed me. And so I'm going to go into great specific detail where they didn't just screw me. They committed actual crimes. and I'm going to detail those in particular. Do not go buy a car from Carvana. Right? Um, I I will not say that they will defraud you. I will say that they attempted to defraud me, and I've got the receipts. I can prove that. Right? That's easy. I can prove that. They attempted to commit the crime of defrauding me out of more than $5,000. So now we're into serious criminal territory here, right? And they still owe me a pile of money, about $5,000 or $6,000 for lost wages, frustration, fuel costs, uh, the cost of the insurance policy that I had to carry on the truck for the entire time that I didn't have access to it. And of course those repairs that I had to pay for. And all the fuel that I had to spend to go to the mechanics that couldn't do the work. Anyway, so finally Carvana, first they make me this offer. They say, well, we can buy it back from you. Well, okay, cool. That sounds good. You just buy it back from me, wash my hands of it, and I'll buy another car somewhere else. Yeah. And they say, yeah, we'll buy it back from you. We just have to appraise it because. No, I'm sorry. What now? What do you mean appraise it? Well, I mean it's missing running boards and it doesn't have good tires and the transmission's busted. It's not worth what you paid for it. So your plan is you're going to take my car and you're going to hand me a pittance, and I'm still going to be sitting here with what, $5, $6, $7, $10,000 in car loan that I have to pay off because it's no longer worth what it was when I bought it from you. Yeah, don't worry, guys. One of these episodes, we're going to talk in detail about how the lemon law works. We're going to talk about that in great detail. Okay? We'll bring the receipts and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how the fact that Carvana publishes this, 150-point inspection. Yeah, 150-point inspection checklist. Every problem that I had with this vehicle is one where the inspection checklist claims that someone inspected that part, the transmission, the tires, the air conditioner, and they said it works. It is in good condition. Or it has been repaired to good condition. And somebody checked off on a checklist and said, I checked this and this is good. That's fraud, because it is either the case that the inspection was not performed, but the company claims for it to have been done, or it is the case that the inspection was performed and the inspector lied on the form. There is not a third option. It is either that the inspection was not done, but it was claimed, or the inspection was done, and then the result was fabricated. There is not a circumstance under which the 150-point inspection that was issued with the vehicle that I purchased from Carvana was not an act of fraud. It's just that possibility does not exist metaphysically, right? So then we get down the road a little bit, and it turns out that the new transmission is going to be around $11,000. Right? And this is a 10-speed transmission in a luxury vehicle. Around $11,000. Carvana tells me that my only option, they can pay it off, but only if I buy another car from Carvana. It's like, well, they called it doing an exchange. And I told them, okay, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because you guys have screwed me around so much that I don't want to do business with you. I just want you to make me whole so that I can walk away and stop having you steal my money and waste my time. And y'all are going to love this. Some of these later episodes where I cover this, I've got a lot of these conversations with customer service, recorded audio recordings of the conversations. And we're going to have a whole conversation about customer service companies having policies where you, the customer, are not allowed to record them. They'll refuse to talk to you if they figure out that you're voice recording them. I actually have voice recordings of a conversation of a customer service agent refusing to go forward with the conversation because she thought I was recording her, which I was. If you guys don't know this already, if you've got one of the newer iPhones, there's a button in the upper left corner you can click to record a phone call conversation. And failing that, a device like this, a Claude AI device like this, just pops on the back of your phone, and you can use that to record phone conversations. Anytime I'm talking with customer service, I don't care if it's a bank, an insurance company, a car dealer, cable company. Anytime I'm talking business on the phone, I'm recording that shit. Because you'll have people lie to you or make promises, and then later somebody will say, well, they didn't make a note of it in the system here. Oh. No. That's my money. We're not fucking with my money. But I literally have a customer service agent from Carvana saying these words. Mr. Lowry, we are never going to make you whole. That's going to play great in one of the 30-second shorts that I publish on every social media platform. Just saying. So, they tell me, we'll do an exchange, but you have to buy another vehicle from us. No, I don't want to do that. Just make me whole. Pay off the car. Take possession of it. It's your part. You sold me a limit. This is your responsibility. This is the law. You have to buy the car back from me or make it or get it into serviceable condition. That's the law. Well, you can keep the car if you want to, Mr. Lowry, but you'll be responsible for the repairs. I'm sorry, what? What's that? I can choose to keep it and pay the $11,000 for the transmission, a couple of $1,000s for a new set of tires. $2,000-$3,000 for running boards, and but you fixed the AC. No, I'm not about to spend 25% of the original purchase price of my vehicle, more than 25% of the original purchase price of a vehicle that I just bought, right? With a warranted guarantee of the value of the vehicle, just to get it roadworthy. That's not happening. In fact, once I'm done doing the transmission, the running boards, the tires, and a couple other odds and ends, plus the tune-up that I had to pay for, I'm spending 50% of the original purchase price just to get the thing running. So they keep pushing. Well, and fair play. I said, I'll think about it. Okay, fine. Well, we'll go with the exchange. And I'll tell you the truth. When we first discussed that, I was aggravated by it, but I kind of resigned myself to, yeah, fuck it. I guess I'll buy another car from you assholes. You better not fuck it up this time. And I even had one of the customer service reps explain to me, well, we can only do the exchange if you buy another car from us. But hey, You could just take advantage of the 7-day no hassle return policy and return the car if you don't like it. I've got that conversation recorded too, by the way. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna have fun with that one. And hey, fair play. When we first said this is the route we're gonna go, as much as I didn't like it, I did go on back on the Carvana site. I found another Expedition Max Limited. Actually, I think it was a platinum package. Anyway, I went on, found another Expedition Max. It was a newer one. I think it was a 2023 or 2024. And I even talked to the bank, and the bank said, "Well, hey, instead of letting this get complicated, where they have to send us a check to repay this loan, and we have to send them a check for the new loan, and all this back and forth, we could do this thing called what was it? A substitution of collateral." Right? They called it subco, substitution of collateral. Basically, what that means is the institution that holds your loan just changes what the collateral is. And the collateral in a car loan is, surprise, surprise, the car. So basically what they're going to do is Carvana gets the old car, I get the new car, the bank leaves the same loan in place and just replaces the details. So instead of the 2021 Expedition Max LTD with this specific VIN number, it becomes the 2023 Expedition Max LTD with this very different VIN number. And the loan terms, everything stays the same. And in this case, the car that I had picked out would have been about $3,000 or $4,000 more than the original one that I ordered. So basically, they swap the numbers, everything stays in place, and I just pay Carvana the difference of $3,000 or $4,000. Just write them a check for the difference, and everybody's happy. Except then they tell me, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going to go pick up the car in 24 hours. So you've got 24 hours from right now. I've just put in the order. You've got 24 hours to get anything out of the car that you need to get out of the car. Well, the car's at a Ford dealership, 45 minutes that way. And so the next thing I know, it's dark 30 in the morning on a Saturday, and I'm having to drive an hour out of my way before I go to my first Saturday photo shoot in the rain and collect just little odds and ends shit out of the Expedition. Right, we had a booster seat in there for the 6-year-old, a couple of charging cables, some alloys, just a couple little, picking any shit. But still, like, oh, now you're suddenly in a hurry. You've been dragging your feet, fucking me around for months, and now I'm in a hurry. Now I got to be in a hurry, you motherfuckers. And then it was over a week before they picked the car up. And this became a pattern with them. It was constantly, okay, we're going to do XYZ in 24 hours. And then a week later, it'd be done. And this went on for a month. Right? The initial conversation about them taking possession, paying off my loan, and me buying another car from them, that was the beginning of May. Right, now, mind you, I first dropped off the Ford at the Ford dealership to get worked on at the end of March. When I got it back, that was April 4th, Friday evening, April 4th. When I got it back after I had to pay to have the motor repaired, April 5th when I gave it back to him. It was May 5th. No, it was April 30th, I believe it was a Saturday, that I went there under the impression that they were coming to pick the car up within the next 24 hours. It was May 5th before they picked it up. And even then, And then there was the whole thing with with them paying it off. It was almost the end of May by the time it was all paid off. And at the point that it was all paid off, I'm still out all the money that I spent on gas and travel, wasted hours, lost wages, cost of repairs, insurance, and a car payment. I'd already made payments, right? I made the March and April payments. Now, I have recovered the car payments that I made, but they still owe me all those other damages, at a bare minimum, the cost of repairing that motor. And that was about $700 too. Right, I've still got the text message that's going to become part of the future presentations. They tell me, okay, we're going to send a check to your bank within 24 hours that will be overnighted. Right, 72 hours later, I get a text message that says, we've sent the check to your bank. It'll please allow 5 to 7 business days for it to arrive. Not for your bank to process it. No, for it to arrive. That doesn't sound like overnight to me. And the whole time, I keep getting these phone calls from Carvana. Hey, Christopher, you ready to talk about your about getting that new expedition? No, I'm not. And when the harassing phone calls first started, I told him, and I meant it. You know, I want the car, but we've got nothing to talk about until you guys have paid off this loan. I'm not taking out another car loan trust me, Christopher, we're going to do right this time and pay off the loan. We're going to do the thing we said we're going to do, even though you have failed consistently to do the thing you said you were going to do over and over and over again. I mean, just starting all the way back at the very beginning. You said you said you'd deliver the car at 3:00. You were 3 hours late delivering the car. At every step in the process, you said you would do X, and then you did not. So no, I'm not going to take another car. So I did, after 3 months of this absolute asinine nonsense. Finally, they took possession of the vehicle. They paid off the entirety of the loan. And I did not buy another car from them, nor will I ever. And I recommend that none of you ever buy a car from them either. Because here's the thing. It may be the case that Carvana can sell you a car that's not a total piece of shit lemon. And fair play, I've had exactly one experience with them. But here's the thing. The way that they handled their customer service when they failed about as miserably as you can fail selling a car speaks volumes for the rest of the company, the rest of the situation. They sold me a busted piece of shit lemon. And then I literally have one of their customer service agents recorded on a line. Like I said, this is going to be one of the shorts later, saying the words, "Mr. Lowry, we will never make you whole." Now, when I do the episode on this where we talk about the Uniform Contract Code, Universal Contract Code, Uniform Contract Code, UCC. When we talk about the UCC and what adhesion contracts and the benefit of the bargain and all that are, we'll get into that in great detail and how I walked away from it and said, no, you know what? I'm done. I don't want another vehicle. I'm never going to do business with you people. What I am going to do is I'm going to go on the internet with my platform such as it is, and to the greatest extent possible, I'm going to tell people to never, ever, ever do business with Carvana under any circumstances. And so look out coming in the coming days and weeks and months. There will be videos where I just play the I just play the customer service phone calls that I had and talk about the specific things that they did and go into more detail on how badly Carvana did it. And understand, I've got what part of the conversation we're having here. I have enough audio recording of different customer service agents doing similar things that I can establish and show a pattern that doesn't guarantee, but certainly suggests that they're customer service agents, whether the agents understand it or not. It's probably the case most of these customer service agents don't understand that they're committing crimes, but they're certainly being trained to commit crimes. They're being trained to do things in a certain way, which constitute the conduct of fraud. And I'll lay that out in very clear patterns. Again, I've got the receipts, and in some cases, literal receipts. The receipt for the repair work that Carvana sold me a lemon, and I had to do repair work on it at my own expense just to get it running well enough so that the actual problem could be diagnosed, only to then have Carvana say, yeah, we're not going to stand by our warranty. We're not going to repair the mechanical problem. And they, at one point, they actually told me, look, it's your problem. You're just going to have to spend the $10,000 or $11,000 and replace that transmission. Either you buy another car from us or you spend $10,000 on a transmission. We're not going to make you whole. We're not going to solve. We're not going to stand by our product. We're not going to try and make the customer whole. You take your lemon and suck it. That's what they did to me. And yeah, there will be more to follow this. You guys keep an eye out. So I'm going to leave you guys with this one. Y'all have a great evening, and we will see you tomorrow morning.